Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So today, thank you for coming back and dropping in to have a look on what we have to say today and what is going on. In fact, this is a new week, breathing, and we are just here to just make some recaps on things that happened throughout the week or during the weeks, especially the things that made you know, the headlines as far as Nigeria is concerned, or Africa in general. So, but on this very show, we are going to be talking about or going through the proposal of new laws, as uh, as was narrated by Obasa, the Speaker of the House of Assembly in Lagos. So that they call the Indigenous people's right of protection and laws and things like that. So, but what he was generally saying is that he's trying to remind the populace that Lagos is not just a no man's land, as some people claim it to be, and Lagos is a Yoruba land. So, but we know that the issue of Lagos has long been on the hot burner because of so many issues that has transpired, within this short space of time. So, especially in the political space and things that just took place. So, a lot of people are quite bitter, of course. We understand that, So, but there's something that they are forgetting is that Lagos has proven itself to be what it has become. Lagos is the largest single economy, apart from Nigeria and South Africa, in the whole of Africa. So Lagos is the third economic state, apart from the nations like Nigeria and South Africa, like I said, you know, because Lagos on its own is richer, if not than, let's say, three-quarter of Nigeria as a country, which means the Lagos itself is richer than Ghana, Togo, Benin, and Mozambique, Angola, Namibia, Zambia, etc. Just like US, just like in the US, it's a California is the richest state in California, which means that California is as rich or richer than countries like even Mexico or Argentina, Brazil, and so many other countries within you know, the American continent. So you cannot take that away from Lagos. So, but this Lagos that we now know to be the richest is not built by a single ethnic group. It's not built by the Aworis, neither is it built by the Yorubas, economically, or is it built by the Igbos, or the Calabars, or the Benins, the Edos, or the Robos. When you say Edos, sometimes people group that to be Robos, Shakiris, Isoko, etc., etc. So, but whatever it is, we agree. You know, so it's not grouped by the Bendel or the Bendelites. Let's put it that way. Whether the Isha, the Benins, or the Isoko and the Shakiris. So, but this Lagos was built by all of these ethnic groups and more. Isha, Shakiri, Yoruba, Isoko, you know, Igbo, uh, TV, and Aworis, Ibibios, Calabar, Calabari, etc. You know, they all built this Lagos to become this Lagos that is now so attractive to the extent that the land that we ordinarily in a place like Ogun State will be sold for like 100,000. As far as Lagos is concerned, that land will be sold for like 1 million. So do you understand what I'm trying to get at here? So, but the issue is that this man who came out with a always trying to, you know, put some idea in the minds of the people that Lagos is a Yoruba land. That's what he said. But normally, we know that Lagos, belongs to the Aworis. The Aworis are not Yorubas. The Aworis are rather from the Edos, you know, because the first Oba of Lagos actually was an Edoman. So, but that one is a story for another day. So, but Lagos, with the proximity that it is to the Yorubas, has been overflooded by the Yorubas as one of the largest ethnic groups in Lagos right now. So, but as well, when you put the rest of the ethnic groups together, then they might as well be outnumbering this same Yoruba that are claiming to own Lagos right now. So, but I think the fear is very obvious because the fear is now because of the election that just happened, that took place. They were surprised that TINUBU could not win Lagos because, as far as they are concerned, TINUBU came naturally from Osun State, but has lived in Lagos all his life, you know, and has become, who was once a governor of Lagos State, has become a godfather of the politics of Lagos. We ordinarily just win Lagos as a walkover, even without having to campaign. So, but they were surprised to see that Tinubu could not even win Lagos in the presidential election that happened in February 25th, or on February 25th. So, with this, a lot of people who are loyal to Tinubu right now, who have every power or whatever that they might think that they can use to do or change one or two things, are fighting tooth and nail to see, you know, if there's any way that they can retain Lagos to themselves or even do anything because like most of the things they did never work actually because for example if you see how they try to disenfranchise non-Yoruba speaking people during the election, you'll be surprised. They go to some areas where they know either through the voting patterns of the past that Tinubu will not be popular in those areas because those areas are highly populated by non-Yoruba speaking people like the Igbos, you know, Calabas, the Edos, Deltas, and what have you, and things like that, Benoist, etc. They went there, struck those posts, make sure they set those posts on fire or burn those posts, or make sure that the election never even take place or were never even conducted in those areas. But yet, they were still surprised that Tinubu still loses the election. Not even like by a little margin, but by a very wide, broad margin upon the rigging that they did. So I'm not so surprised that this guy is coming up with all this, you know, bullshit now because Obasa is known to be a Tinubu boy, or a Tinubu man. Tinubu made him, so being loyal is just a natural thing that he should at least do, so now he came up with that. So that is, by the way, so we allow the experts to talk about that more, so, and as for the exchange rate also, the unified exchange rate mechanism, I think that's a good idea, if they allowed it to flow, because all these so-called traditional rulers, you know, especially from the north, has been the problem of the Nigeria Stock Exchange and what do you call it, Bureau changes, etc. Because they've been the ones going to the CBN, to get the money because of because they have a letter from or authorization from the president, etc. for the CBN to open up their vault. for them to take to their whatever. So that was the easiest business that they knew how to do. So everybody was doing it in the north, especially, you know, and mostly, let's say 90% of the Burundi changes were being controlled by the Northerns, and especially those so-called traditional rulers in the north. So that is not that's an open secret. Everybody knows that. So now they begin that thing to run the Nigeria economy down. Because in a situation whereby you go to the CBN and you buy, they give you dollar for 250, for example, 250 to a dollar, and across the street you can sell it for 500, so without doing anything. So what they have to do is just to make sure that they cause scarcity, etc. So when there's scarcity, people are ready to pay any amount, especially those who wants to embark on some international trade. So why the actual legitimate businessmen who are supposed to get this draft that they're supposed to take, with them overseas to do business or transact, bank to bank transaction and get that, you know, bank regulated fixed rate. They won't even get it. So at the end of the day, you'll be pushed also to go to the roadside to buy from a vendor or one malam that is selling this thing and representing one of those, so-called, you know, traditional leaders or rulers. So that has been what they've been doing ever since the military era. So, old habit they say, die hard. So that's what they be doing up to now, and they still continue doing it. So that's why it has been so difficult. So, but now, if what TINUBU is saying now is anything to go by, so we should hope, or we should be hoping that definitely, if there's a flat rate, then for those who are doing business abroad, or those who are doing, you know, import and exports and things like that, they will be able to at least plan, with what they know the rate to be. So it's not about this speculation of thinking that the naira is at 500 and you go to the bank and you see that it's 550 or 525. By the time you put that 25 together and you are buying the thousands, 2,000, 10,000, 20,000, and you see that you are losing a lot of money. So and all this whole thing still come back again to hurt, you know, the ordinary people, because they are the ones who are purchasing these goods that are being imported. So definitely this whole tariffs are going to be added up. So that has been being the case. So let's just go through all this whole thing and see what you know see what you can take from it all. So let us know what you think, on our on our comment site. So please drop your comments and let us know, you know, what you feel about this whole thing, and see if actually Nigeria we ever move forward. Because from what I'm seeing right now, I think there are some signals that if this whole thing are actually being like I said, being worked on the way it should be, definitely. So we might be able to get somewhere. Like I've always said, the worst Southern is better than the best Northerner as far as Nigeria economy is concerned. So it has been proven time and time again. So if Tinubu is showing those traits again, so I want to say I'm surprised because I never doubted him. So another thing that he did again now was the passing of the energy, that is the energy bill into law, electricity bill into law. So that's a good thing, which means the states can now, actually, generate their power and distribute their power as well. So I just don't see any reason why in the past it has been the opposite, because everybody knows that every household in Nigeria generate their own energy and distribute. So why can't the state do the same? Why taxing this, taxing the users of the electricity and as well make money from it, instead of all the pollution that is, that these generators are generating all over the place, and the noise, So that's also a good thing. So let's, let's see what some of these experts have to say. So please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you've not, and please share these videos. Let it go viral. Thank you. God bless you. I'm Jay, Abori Jay. Thank you.
Of the state. On Tuesday, Obasa was unanimously re-elected and Speaker of the House after the proclamation of the state's 10th Assembly by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, making it the third consecutive time that he would occupy the position. In his acceptance speech, the Speaker said that Lagos is Yoruba land and that laws passed by the Assembly will now be translated to Yoruba language. He also stated that the Assembly would ensure that the laws are made to protect the interest of indigenous people of Lagos and that lawmakers will reverse all that is reversible to protect the interest of the indigents.
Lagos is a Yoruba land, as against assertion of some people that it is no more land. Therefore, part of our legislative agenda is to ensure that the translation of laws passed by this House to Yoruba language. We also aim at achieving our collective goals of creating a robust legislative framework that protects the interests of our people. Going forward in this one, we are going to employ all legislative instruments for the support of the indigenes of Lagos State.
When this particular story hit the headlines on Tuesday, I was genuinely flabbergasted. I couldn't believe that following the bigotry and the tear in the veil when it comes to ethnicity, during the 2023 elections, we saw that push where a lot of non-indigenous, and I'm using that, that word very lightly, non-indigenous Lagosians were stopped from casting their votes because they were not originally from, because their claims that they are not originally from here. Now we've been able to get through that. We're here now. President Bola TINUBU has been inaugurated. He's the president. And I was thinking that the Lagos State House of Assembly would be focused on healing and trying to bring Lagosians together. However, the Speaker, this is his third time in office. He's been re-elected and now tugging at the strings of what does that even mean? That they're going to change the laws, they're going to reverse certain laws, economic laws, and property laws for Yoruba people. My mother is a Yoruba. She's from Ogun State, Abeokuta. We've been living here for a long time. My father is from Delta State, Ishekiri. So does that mean I'm going to get one leg in, one leg out because I'm half Yoruba, half Ishekiri? What does that mean? And then when you look at the Constitution, it states there clearly that no Nigerian, while in Nigeria, can be discriminated on as a result of ethnicity or tribe or even where you fall in the economic bracket. It is there in the Constitution. So I don't understand how somebody that understands the law, that is in charge of what is even the function of the legislature, Mr. Steve? Isn't it to protect the peace and the order, of Nigerians? Is this in itself protecting the peace and order of Nigerians? I'm very upset at this. I'm hoping that the other members of the House or House of Assembly do not take this particular bill lightly. And apart from that, it is important to note that Lagos is filled with different tribes and different ethnicities.
So like I just said before, it's not it's not hidden. If you live in Lagos and you know what Lagos is made of, then you know that Lagos is made up of everyone. Even sometimes so many foreigners, due to the state of the what Lagos actually represent before as a capital of the federation. So because of that, a lot of people came from various parts of other parts of Nigeria. Various people from various ethnic groups, came together and started living in all parts of Lagos. So some people develop, their own areas as well, and and has made Lagos to become what it has become, like I said before. So to me, this one is a very strange thing. I know that this man Obasa was born in Lagos, so likewise, so many other people like other Igbos, Ishekiri, Edos, etc., who were also born in Lagos. So they also have the right to be called Lagosians. So for one particular ethnic group, like the Yorubas, who are trying always, to claim like someone is dragging Lagos from them. They try to remind you over and over again that Lagos belongs to the Yorubas. So I don't understand what this actually means, because it means one thing, and that thing is that either they are scared that they be overpopulated by the other ethnic groups in Lagos and what have you. I wouldn't know, because the Oba of Lagos, normally Lagos is not supposed to, what they call it, Oba. The Oba of Lagos presently, is like a political machine, in the hands of the politicians. So because Lagos has never been known to play, Obas has never been known to play this kind of politics that this man is playing, and his relevance in the politics of Lagos State, to the extent that he was even threatening the Igbos, you know, in 2019 elections, that if they should vote, for someone other than Buhari, then that he will throw the, meaning that he will kill the non Yoruba people and throw them into the lagoon. So he got into that extent. Then you don't have to take this man's threat lightly, because this man was once a police officer. So definitely he have his own contacts, maybe of squad men and things like that, to be able to carry out those kind of threats. So people really took him very seriously. So, but at the end of the day, no one actually know what happened. But when the SARS came, so he was chased out of his palace, for that. So I guess this time around, he was not so loud the way he was then. Is even this time that his own boy was running for president. So how come, if you think that he have the whole vote of Lagos, why didn't he deliver Lagos, to TINUBU? That's to tell you that he don't have that power. So that title he just having there is just an ordinary title. It doesn't really mean anything, because I don't think that man can stand on his balcony and command the local government where his palace is, and tell them how to vote, and for that vote to go the way that he wishes. So I don't think so. So, but that is that. That's politics. So because they've not become politicians, that's the problem. Those days we used to respect the traditional rulers, as being apolitical. So people don't usually respect them, because all kinds of political parties, candidates will go there and we just pray for them, etc. But this time around, when the B went there also, this man did not even want to, he never even attended to B, you know, like to tell you how biased, to show you again how biased, that man was. So he's one of the royal fathers that have done that so far, so he's biased, and it's, what do you call it, tribalism that he played. It's not hidden, it's very plain. So to me, that's okay. As far as the Igbo man don't need anything from him actually, then you don't have to bother about him. The Edoma don't need anything from him, you don't have to bother about him. So, but all these hungry people or hungry traditional rulers, when they are hungry, they know where to find you. As far as you have a big shop, somewhere in Lagos, etc., then they will know how to send their boys to you to task you and to ask you to bring some money, etc., etc., etc. So, but to me, if they are really angry that the non-indigenous are buying up properties in Lagos, all they have to do is to buy these properties back, you know. So, offer that those people the amount of money that they cannot refuse. Definitely, they might sell without even knowing why they are selling, you know. So it's just like that. So they are so scared to that extent, because I wouldn't imagine if I were to be from Lagos and I feel threatened by some foreigners buying off land in my own place, etc. Then definitely maybe we have to make some laws to restrict that. But if the laws are not restricted, and yet these people happen to be buying all these properties and stuff like that, there should be a way, you know, that that's local government. will be benefiting from this whole thing. You just don't do that for free, because Lagos, buying land in Lagos or buying houses in Lagos, it's not a peanut, So I don't know what the hell is going on, but these cultural politicians that we now have these days, they are taking it to another level. They are breeding this ethnic hatred, every now and then with every little opportunity they get. So I think this one now just want to be popular again within his own this thing. But this law is not even, it's just proposing, just talking. This is just the first sitting of the House. So it's not like anything has gone to anywhere or any proposal has gone to the lower or whatever house and stuff like that. So just suggesting. So maybe at the end of the day, he will turn around again and say he never said so, that it was misquoted. Like they always said. So let's leave that at that and move on with the rest of the, you know. So
anybody. What it says is that he will protect, that the State House of Assembly will protect the interest of the indigents. I don't see that as bigotry. And in any case, you can, of course, debate who is an indigent. You can even ask if Obasa himself is an indigent of Lagos State. Debate will be healthy. But then don't let us shut down the idea of reinforcing the fact that Lagos State is a Yoruba land. It is, and I believe that it will remain so, even though the demographic will continue to change. And of course, people will engage.
Then we are going to go on a short break now, but when we come back, we'll still be talking more of what happened this week.
You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News, and we're still on to the week that was. Now, President Bola TINUBU has suspended Godwin Emefiele as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. A statement from the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, signed by Director of Information, Willie Bassi, said the suspension is with immediate effect. According to the statement, the President has directed Mr. Emefiele to transfer his responsibilities to the Deputy Governor Operations Directorate. In the meantime, Folashodu Adebisi Shonubi, the Deputy Governor, is expected to act as CBN Governor pending the conclusion of an investigation of Emefiele's office.
And a lot of people were shocked seeing what exactly had happened with the suspension, and especially when you look at what happened with the cashless policy, and just the fact that the entire process really puts Nigerians in a dire spot, what's the best way to put it? I think maybe let's start with you and then we'll come back. Let me gather my
Your thoughts. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I don't think that we should start identifying the reasons now beyond what the statement from the Director of Press in the office of the SGF has said. And it has to do with the instruction from the President, Bola TINUBU, that his office is under investigation and that he will have to vacate the seat pending the outcome of the investigation. But when things like this happen, usually you will get a press statement saying that for this and this reasons, you'll be suspended. One of the deputy governors of the CBN, in this instance, Deputy Governor Operations, Shonubi, has been picked to act while he's out of that seat. We don't know for how long. We don't know if he will ever return after precisely 9 years and a few days on the seat. Don't forget that he came in 2014, June, under Goodluck Jonathan. So he will have worked with at least 3 presidents. The only other person who beats that record will be the gentleman who's late now, Alhaji Abdulkadir Ahmed, who was the CBN governor from 1982 to 1993, working with 4 different heads of state from Shagari to Buhari to Babangida and to Abacha, who eventually fired him and got him replaced in September of 1993. Emefiele has done that. We do not know where this is headed, but I don't think that many people will be shocked, given the body language of not just the president, but the men, the people around him, about his perceived disposition, to the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu first as the candidate of the party. Don't forget that there was a time that it looked like Emefiele was also interested in the same seat.
So that's what a lot of people are saying. That is it because Emefiele was also interested in the presidency, under the APC ticket, that is why he's being kicked out. So a lot of speculations have been flying around. Some said, no, it's because of the Naira strangulation that he did, that he applied. So that was actually meant, according to some speculations, to strangulate the Tinubu's, access, to his money. When it was then rumored that Tinubu has already transported trailer loads of Naira cash, to the north. So by facing out this whole thing, all of a sudden, then the whole thing stifled. So some said it was not in cash, they were lodged into a bank account. So we wouldn't know what happened, but sooner or later, things will unveil on that. So that is that. So I think they are not fighting themselves. So, but who knows? But it's them and them, that knows what's going on. So let's take a look again at this whole thing.
And he said that it needed to be adjusted downwards to encourage investment, and described the interest rate at the time as anti-people and anti-business. And at a point, Emefiele himself had admitted to the challenges faced by bank customers following the limits on cash withdrawals, and said that the CBN itself would try to sustain the current monetary regime following a rise in headline inflation, which in itself posed significant threats to the economy. He also explained his decision at the time to raise the interest rates and, of course, try to rein in inflation. However, at this point, we just have to watch and see what happens with this investigation. Like you said when you were reading out, that at this point, the responsibility now falls to the deputy governor for operations. That is Fola Shodun Adebisi Shonubi. So I'm just going to see what happens with this.
So that's the next man on the line for the job. So let's see what Tinubu has to tell the NSA here. And
for the nation's economic prosperity and development.
So that was Tinubu with
terrorism is not unique to Nigeria alone. It's across the world, and we have to fight it. We have to eliminate it completely. And we, as Nigerians, are looking for economic revival, prosperity, and development. Then we have to give priority to security. What I've seen here is a demonstration of intelligent effort to counter terrorism. It must be backed by knowledge.
And for a second time within a week, the president is charging security and intelligence agencies to collaborate and share information to achieve a common goal as he prioritizes the security of Nigerians.
You can't have a disharmony in an orchestra of this security plan.
So that was your president talking. So let's move forward.
And also timely reports. Nigeria is such a big country, and we see these sub-elements of insecurity spread across the nation. There should be focus on terrorism. There should be a focus on the misfortunes in the maritime domain, focusing mainly on the issues of theft, state security, and cybercrime. Just this week, we saw Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, who appointed new military and intelligence chiefs in a major reshuffle. A lot of people were shocked at how swift and how diverse this shuffle was. And in expressing his willingness to do whatever was necessary to support the nation's security architecture, he asked, you can just see someone that really wants the security in his nation to work. And I personally believe that, that if we're still having that conversation now, where we're almost begging the security agencies that please share information talk to each other, maybe what President Bola Tinubu needs to do is a major reshuffle, because when it comes to
Simple.
security, we cannot take any chances, and expressing his willingness to do whatever is necessary to support the nation's security architecture. When you look at hoarding such resources, can come off as being counterproductive in the fight against terrorism. So I'm definitely 100% sold in what President Bola Tinubu did say in that video.
Well said. I mean, there can be a time when we'll stop talking about the importance of sharing intel and making security top-notch. And of course, a president like Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu will have to keep emphasizing that, given the fact that he doesn't have a military background.
Having a military background is nothing, because all those ones that had military backgrounds, they were able to do nothing. Jonathan never went to the military, but he was able to at least, nip the bud, of the insecurity during his own time. So Buhari that claimed to be a superman, has been in the military for years and years, because he thought he was a superman because he thought, because they went to massacre people during the Civil War, people that were not having guns, that definitely he was still going to make that kind of command, and this time around crush the Boko Haram. So they were surprised that the Boko Haram that he professed that he was going to crush within the first term of his term in office. So he could not even do anything until he finished his 8 years in office. So in fact, at the point, even the Boko Haram were threatening him that if they want to kidnap him, that they can even kidnap him and keep him in their own cell. So at the point, we also heard that even the Aso Rock security were at were on high alert during the Buhari's own time, because they were so scared that the Boko Haram, were inside the Abuja municipality and stuff like that, and operating and kidnapping people, etc. So all they were doing there was just making deals and deals with these people. All the way from Zamfara, the governor of Zamfara was partying with them, making deals with them. El Rufai was making deals with them, and some of them call some of these Boko Haram sects, and some call them Fulani herdsmen, etc. But we all knew as at that time that these people were not just Fulani. They contrive of so many tribes, from the north, whether Nupe, Fulani, Hausa, and what have you, that make up the Boko Haram, of course. So but all of a sudden, then we start to hear that it was the Fulani herdsmen that were the one, doing all this whole thing. So, but we know that they were Boko Haram as well. So whether they are Fulanis, whether they are Hausas, who cares? So the Fulani herdsmen were also doing their own operation, because after all those what do you call them? The the so-called chairman of the Fulani herdsmen and boss, who are claiming responsibility for the killings in Benny and Coast and things like that. They are still running free. Nobody has ever arrested them or ever questioned them about anything, simply because they were from the tribe of Buhari. So that's how a lot of people sees it. So, but let's see if this time around, if things will change. Because ever since this man came on board, and maybe about 90 people or 90-something people there, about or hundreds, has been killed again in Benue State. So maybe that is just another reminder or a warning, for him to know that, hey, they are still there. They've not disappeared. So, well, let's see what happens. So we just can't say that we know everything for now. So he trying to talk to this security man without trying to, trying to reshuffle, we just amount to nothing, because it's the same people that have been there for the past 8 years and what have you, and nothing has changed. So they are enjoying the money or the military budgets that are coming to them, etc. It's going into their pocket. They are marrying more wives, buying more properties abroad, etc. So the things will still continue like that, except they actually change this whole people and bring in some fresh brains, who knows what to do and how to tackle this insecurity, from the ground up. So that's how we see it. So let's take on the other ones and move on.
Maybe things will change, for the better, because a lot is going on within the military apparatus that is not tidy, that is not healthy for the security of the nation. He will have to be the commander-in-chief and ensure that that orchestra is harmonious.
So we can get some beautiful music coming out of
Absolutely.
Nigeria for once.
Absolutely. All right, moving on, the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, has broken his silence on the issue of subsidy removal. 1 week after President Bola TINUBU made the much criticized announcement, Obi made the comments while relating with judicial correspondents at the Court of Appeal venue of the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal. He maintained that the removal is in the best interest of Nigerians owing to the fact that it has been an organized crime. He, however, criticized the manner in which it was removed, stating that rather than go through a forceful removal, he would have provided various relieving policies to cushion the obvious adverse effects.
The difference between removing your tooth by applying anesthesia, which will alleviate your pain, and just pulling it out. The difference is that I believe it should be removed with conditions, and that condition has to be applied. If I was involved, I would have shown in empirical statistical data how much we are going to save, where we are going to apply it, the gains for the people, so they can, just like I said all throughout my campaign, that I'm going to govern the people by being open, showing them empirically verifiable facts on how the country can be better, and everybody can follow it. The reason why Nigerians are agitating about everything here is that when people say, let's go and suffer, let's go and sacrifice, they don't see the effect of the sacrifice at the end.
So I think that is clear for now. So like in our previous video, so we also made that known that there are some things that ought to be done to cushion the effects of the whole thing. So but this man, Mr. Amadi, has something to say here, because he was saying that in fact that these laws has long been there, so that the only thing that changes now is that they now have the law backing it up, to be able to generate and distribute electricity at the same time. So let's see to how he said it.
TINUBU has assented to the electricity bill, which empowers states, companies and individuals to generate, transmit and distribute electricity. The new electricity law repeals the Electricity and Power Sector Reform Act of 2005 and consolidates the laws relating to the Nigerian electricity supply industry. The Senate had passed the electricity bill in July 2022 to solve the sector's challenges. President Muhammadu Buhari had signed 16 constitutional amendments in 2022, one of which pertains to the devolution of powers on the national grid system. Well, this grants states the constitutional authority or right to enact laws that allow them to generate, distribute and transport electricity within its boundaries, including, of course, territories formerly covered only by the national grid. And speaking on the enactment of the new act, President Bola permits Nigeria's 36 states to generate electricity.
Joining us to take a look at the newly signed law is a former chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, and Arise News analyst, Dr. Sam Amadi, who is an associate professor. Thank you, Dr. Amadi, for joining us Newsnight.
Thank you.
Good. Now, about 85 million Nigerians lack access to...
kind of build-up probably to that. But essentially, there's been debate. The 2005 Electric Power Sector Reform Act, 2005, quite a long time, and things have changed. The market model that inspired the British model, the Indian model, that inspired the national electric power policy they have all changed in their country. So it makes sense that stakeholders are saying amend now. So this law, new law, tries to recreate the Electric Power Sector Reform Act, but do three things. First is clamor for state participation. You see, there's been this notion, which is not totally correct, that states could not play in the electricity market on the old law. That's not true.
Right.
I licensed Lagos State. Ibom has power. Okwama has power. Rivers IPP, which they sold to the owners of Ibom Power, energy company. Edo partnered significantly with Azura. So the states could play in this market. What they couldn't do before now, they couldn't distribute and they couldn't transmit for good reason, because these are public goods. These are networks that you can have multiple lines running. But many states felt there was big disclaimer. Oh, why can't we distribute power? I remember when I was chairman and Mechi went to meet, Governor Mechi then went to meet Jonathan. I said, look, I have power in River State. Why can't I feed myself 247? And the president thought it was going to be true. He called me and said, look, you can't, because if you do that, take all the power to Rivers, Port Harcourt Disco, serving River State. The rest of those will have less commerciality. So now I think that voice has grown now. People say, okay, give the states. Now, if you watch this new act, states cannot do intrastate. They can only do their state.
Their own state.
Now, most states are not viable for good distribution network, because even to be viable, they have to have both the quantity of power to sell and also have the customer base. Again, network, transmission. You cannot just have your own transmission distribution. So we're going to see a lot of federal power sector moving. Now it could still regulate intrastate. We're going to see also states maybe coming together into a region. What may be more reasonable is a regional grid, in the sense that many states could come together. So this law removes that constitutional barrier. Again, it also mandates some degree of renewable energy. We've not been doing well in renewable energy. So distributors and generators have obligation, soft obligation, to get involved in renewable. Maybe that will provide incentive to get more renewable into the grid. Today we have zero renewable energy in the grid. We have standalone solar regulator. Okay, those who have Lagos, Edo, and Kaduna has been grandfathered in this law, meaning they already exist, so take notice of them, they work. Now the point here is, even the old law, Lagos State set up its electricity board. While in the old law, I did a lot of work with Lagos and Fashola. They did great work, using existing frameworks. So, but what this has made is make explicit what may be implicit. So states now know, by the way, Imo State government under Emeka Hedo set up the Imo Power Ratification Agency, which he made me chairman. Now when Hope came, he didn't dissolve it, he didn't recognize us. So this idea that states couldn't play in the market is false. Many states were not creative enough. Many states are not, entrepreneurial.
Okay, so now that the president has assented to this, what really do you expect the states to begin to do now? States may not have the wherewithal the financial muscle to be able to drive it. What needs to be done now?
What they should do now is take this law to say this has opened further the opportunity, open the door. Now you can transmit, you can create your own agency. Of course, you have to follow next federal rules in terms of interconnections. But look at something like customer service. States can do that very well. Set up a consumer protection, a district consumer regulator that uses next rules and apply them. The states can, using subproject now, go into renewable. Many states, like the northern states with solar, some of the coastal states, even all the states in Nigeria, with level of radiation, they have significant level of capacity for solar.
So that's Mr. Mali talking. So that's what I've always professed, that it would be nice to see that regions or states are able to generate their energies and distribute them as well. So long the laws has made that possible for the states, which means, to the regional issue will just be a matter of time for when it comes to distribution capacity, because some states are richer than the others. So those little states who are not able to do this thing, then they can enter a deal with the other state although the law does not permit, interregional, interstate, transmission and what have you. I think that would be, the easiest thing to do, or the easiest thing for the law, to make the law, you know, to, to have teeth, in order to effect, its effectiveness, you know, on the whole, so that at least the actual law will not be a law that is made for the people, not the people for the law. So that's the way I see it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you